F-Zero X was another successful entry in the series. While it wasn't as successful as the first game on the Super Nintendo, it still ended up selling over 1 million units and getting its own Player's Choice re-release in the PAL regions. As with everything, when there's success, more sequels are in order. In 2003, F-Zero GX would be released for the Nintendo GameCube to massive critical acclaim. This game is considered by both fans and critics as the best game in the series. If you search around YouTube, you'll see many people talk very highly about this game. Even with all the praise and positive feedback this game has had, I've never played this game. Granted, it's not like I had too many opportunities. I did grow up mainly in the late 7th and the entire 8th generation of game consoles, but even when I was able to buy my own retro games, I never got around to buying it. Mostly because game prices look like this right now. This review will be the very first time I've experienced this game, and I'm excited to see if all that praise is well warranted. Considering many other series got really solid entries on the GameCube, I'm excited to see how F-Zero transitions to the 6th generation of game consoles. F-Zero GX is the result of the combined efforts of Nintendo and Sega? Yeah, Sega had their hands in this game technically with their subsidiary Amusement Vision. This was Nintendo and Sega's first big collaboration together after Sega left the game console industry with the sad death of the Sega Dreamcast. God, I wish you succeeded. F-Zero GX was actually a dual project because developed alongside it was an arcade version of the game, F-Zero AX. This was a game that was going to be on the proprietary arcade machine hardware developed by Nintendo, Sega, and Namco called the Triforce, and was based on the GameCube's architecture. It wouldn't be an F-Zero game if it weren't released on an extremely obscure piece of hardware, wouldn't it? These F-Zero X machines could also take GameCube memory cards, so you would be able to save records and custom cars to race in F-Zero AX. There are also exclusive parts from AX that you would be able to transfer into GX. God, this is starting to become a mouthful. Well, technically these aren't exclusive parts or racers. You can get these in GX, but you have to do pretty much everything on the hardest difficulties. Or you can use a Game Shark code, I don't judge. I didn't unlock all the parts and racers for this review, by the way. I tried doing some of these story missions on the hardest difficulties, and they're absurdly tough, but I can at least say I got a couple. Anyway, going back to F-Zero AX, this was one of only 5 arcade games made using this Triforce moniker. There were 2 games only released in Japan, and more famously, the Mario Kart Arcade GP games. If you've ever seen a random video of Namco characters like Pac-Man and Mario Kart, this is probably where it came from. These are pretty neat to see in action, that is if you're able to find a machine. Mario Kart isn't too hard to find, in fact I actually have some near my home. However, if you're looking for an F-Zero AX machine, good luck with that. They're extremely difficult to find in the wild, so much so that there's a whole map on Reddit that tracks where any remaining arcade machines are. I'd love to try one of these machines one day, but they're just too far away from me right now to justify a trip. Thankfully, the companion game is much more available to play. The main Grand Prix mode of F-Zero GX is pretty much exactly like the previous game, F-Zero X. You choose a cup, race around a few tracks, and try and get first place at the end of said cup. The boost system works exactly the same as before, and you're still able to destroy your opponent's vehicles. There are some slight differences, mainly the fact that there are only 5 courses per cup instead of 6 like in the previous game. No little jingle though when you destroy a vehicle anymore. I don't understand why they removed that, it was so satisfying. Destroying other vehicles does seem a bit more difficult too. I always feel like you could easily get a couple kills at the very beginning of any F-Zero X race, but here it's way more difficult to just even get one, honestly. Like before, you get your 3 main difficulties, with the Master difficulty being unlocked once you beat every cup on Expert mode. This game is also difficult like every other game. In fact, let's just start tackling it now. This game is probably the hardest one of the whole series. Usually what I like to do is run through each cup on Novice and work my way up from there. Considering I knew nothing about these courses, I needed to get a feel for everything before I started doing it on higher difficulties. Let me tell you, I was pretty surprised with how much Novice mode beat me. It eventually got better, but I died more than I expected to. I eventually got my bearings and settled in, but those first playthroughs for each track were a bit eye-opening. Thankfully, the learning curve for this game does seem to be a bit more generous than before, and I think the reason for that are the massively improved controls. F-Zero X wasn't a badly controlled game, it was just really aged. 1998 analog is a lot different than 2003 analog. Here, it feels so natural controlling whatever vehicle you like. I had no problems with me randomly spinning out because I took too sharp of a turn or had any thoughts of using an official controller to make the game feel better. Weaving through traffic is better, shifting left and right feels better, everything is just better. This is how a modern, fast-paced racing game should feel. It feels great controlling every type of car in this game, even if they don't have the greatest handling, although if you do use someone with highly rated handling, you won't be losing control anytime soon. My main in this game ended up being Jodie Summer because of that. I just wanted to see how well she handled it, and it was so great. I felt like I was fully in control of my actions, and I had a ton of success. My only complaint is the default camera angle. It's just a bit too close to your car for my liking, and it can lead to me bumping into corners. But I hear you asking, why didn't you just change the camera angle to be a bit farther away? Well, I would have, if I knew you could actually do that. I found out you could change the camera angles pretty much after I recorded everything I needed for this review. I know, I'm a bit of a dumbass for not checking to see if you could adjust the camera, but I'm still going to complain about it anyway. The courses you race on have once again evolved from their N64 days. A lot of the design does use aspects from F-Zero X though. 3 cups are available to you, with 2 other cups being available to unlock after finishing everything on the higher difficulties. Stuff like the jumps, loops, tubes, and pipes have all returned, but they seem to be a lot more refined for the most part. I complained a bit last video about how the tubes in F-Zero X suck to drive on because they seemed really jank. Now, I have no issues driving on them. In fact, Firefield Cylinder Knot is one of my favorite courses in the game, which I never would have expected. The one thing that doesn't work for me though are the half and full pipes. I have the worst time telling where my car is going to go when I move, and it makes courses like Greenplant Intersection a nightmare to finish. I think I hate the half pipes more though. More specifically, I hate Lightning Half Pipe. It's so weird navigating this map, and it's so easy to careen off the track and just die. This is my least favorite course in the game, no doubt. But I don't want to complain too much about these courses. What tracks did I actually like? Well, both Casino Palace stages are excellent. I'm a huge sucker for casino aesthetics, and this just scratches that itch so well. Port Town Aero Dive is fun, if only being able to see where the inspiration for that Smash Bros. Stage came from. Aeropolis Dragon Slope is so fun to race through as well. Its super sharp turns at the beginning are awesome to drift through and make me feel like I'm better at this game than I actually am. What really helps all of these stages shine are their looks. There wasn't really a whole lot going on outside of the tracks in F-Zero X, but here, it feels like I'm actually racing in a sand ocean or in a cityscape instead of just a gray void. Sure, most of the locales are just city areas, but the few that go elsewhere look great. Phantom Road is visually awesome. I already mentioned how much I like Casino Palace. Firefield looks really cool, and Green Plant does make me feel like I'm racing in a jungle-ish area. The fact there's a lot more going on really helps this game stand out visually. The other thing is the music, and once again, it's a great soundtrack. Little bit of a genre shift though. Instead of purely hard rock, we got a lot more techno songs courtesy of Hidenori Shoji and Daiki Kasho. I am so sorry if I mispronounced those. There's still some rock, but like I said, that isn't the only genre in this game. The common theme amongst every song is that they're all high energy and keep me locked in when I'm trying to not fall off the stage for the 100th time. One thing I adore about this game is the personality they gave each racer. The entire cast from F-Zero X does return here with brand new 3D models to boot. What's really crazy to me is that anytime a franchise like Super Smash Bros. References a character from the series, they will use the models from this game. It's wild that they have this type of longevity, but also makes me kinda sad there aren't any new games that update these models. The way that you unlock these guys is a bit different from before. After you complete a cup or a mission in story mode, you'll receive tickets. These can be used to purchase any racer in the game, along with some other things we'll get to shortly. I think this is way better than the last game. Being able to choose who you unlock is great in my eyes. Of course, with any new racing game, there are new characters to play as well. Now, the only way you're getting these guys is through story mode, and you'll have to finish a lot of them on the highest difficulty very hard, so odds are you'll be spending a lot of time trying to get them. Like I said before though, I didn't do it, and I don't blame you if you don't want to. Some of the newcomers are really neat though. Deathborn, Spade, and Don Genie all are really well designed antagonist racers, even if Don Genie is just a fat Heihachi from Tekken. I also like PJ. He's just this cute little alien guy driving this crazy taxi-inspired car. It's so charming. A new feature in this game is that you can look at each racer's bios as well and get a little extra lore. Most of these are pretty fun reads, and each character gets their own theme, which is really cool as well. Some of these lore dumps, though, are a bit questionable, to say the least. Baba over here is a black pilot and has a description that could be interpreted as certain offensive stereotypes. Not only that, he also is an early 2000s gay stereotype, so his entire personality has just aged like milk over the years. Lily Flyer is a literal child soldier forced to race by the Galactic Federation, no relation to the one from Metroid. Although, I will say, considering all the shit Samus has to go through because of the Galactic Federation, I wouldn't put it past those numbnuts either. Then there's Dai-san Gen. I mean, just look at them. There's no room for interpretation. That's just gotta be racist at this point. The voice acting makes it so much worse too. Like, who thought this was a good idea, and how did it make it past any censors?
Congratulations on your stunning victory.
Thank you. We are Daisengin. We work together. We can do anything.
Thank you for the interview.
Needless to say, if there's another F-Zero game released this century, we won't be seeing him anywhere near this game's roster, barring a drastic redesign. Well, if we overlook the not-so-savory aspects of certain characters, I love the developers took the time to create a world around the F-Zero racers. It isn't a lot, but it at least now makes these guys feel like characters and not just random avatars to choose from. There's even a little interview section at the end of each cup with the announcer Mr. Zero, who was also technically an F-Zero X, but we get at him a lot more here. It's great seeing him interact with everyone, and some of these can be pretty funny. Fun stuff like this is why people love the series so much. This world is so unique, and I wish we could just see it come back. God, where is the next F-Zero game? I need it so bad. Along with our new characters, there are some new modes to explore as well. I've already mentioned it a few times now, but there's a story mode included for the first time in the series' history. It's one of the stories of all time, I'll give it that. It is some of the corniest, cheesiest shit I have ever seen, and I absolutely adore it. It's that so bad it's good type of story. The actual plot is nothing special. The main bad guy of the series, Black Shadow, is causing havoc on behalf of Deathborn, the most metal demon I've ever seen in my entire life. It's pretty simple, you beat those guys and save the day. The only really interesting thing is, after you beat Deathborn and get the championship belt, the gods of this universe start talking to Captain Falcon and they challenge him to a race for survival. It's not every day you can say you beat God in a race. Well, I can't say that. I never actually beat the final mission. That shit is impossible. The real highlight of the story is the voice acting. It is god-awful, but again, it's so bad it's good. Like, listen to this shit and tell me you didn't at least crack a smile.
Hey, where do you think you're taking me?
Guys, the party's just starting.
Black Shadow, you failed again. You good for nothing.
Forgive me, Lord Death! Just who are you?
This is true cinema here. Nolan ain't got shit on this. The missions themselves are something else. Not in content, by the way, these are all pretty simple. I mean more in difficulty, because it's an absolute roller coaster. The first mission's pretty easy, as you would expect. The next two are really tough, especially for beginners. Then it becomes pretty average for the next 3 or 4. Then missions 8 and 9 are fucking hard as hell. I managed to finish the final race with Deathborn, but I couldn't do it with the one against the race gods. I literally can't even finish a whole lap. It's crazy. These turns are hella sharp, and any small mistake pretty much guarantees you die and have to restart. If you're someone playing this game for the first time, I highly recommend you do not immediately dive into the story mode. The difficulty of it can easily turn off a newcomer. You don't even move on to the next level once you complete a mission either. You have to buy the mission first with those tickets I talked about earlier. I'd rather just continue stage by stage. This seems like a needless way to extend gameplay by having to grind for tickets. But if you think these are hard on normal mode, just try and do these on hard and very hard. These are some of the hardest challenges I've ever experienced in any video game I've ever played. No joke. I'm pretty sure there's at least 3 hours of footage I recorded of me trying in vain to finish the first mission on these harder difficulties. I will say though, it was very satisfying being able to unlock even just a couple of these hard to unlock racers from F-Zero AX. One of the ones I unlocked, Phoenix, is really cool too. He's part of the Time Patrol and hails from the 29th century. He's apparently here in our time to stop some type of time-related incident from happening. I don't know, I didn't really look too deep into it. A really cool character that I hope to see again, even with the sort of out-of-place British accent.
The winner of the expert class. Congratulations.
It's a privilege to have won such a prestigious race.
I'd love to get all the unlockable characters, but man, it is just so difficult to even unlock them. Like, I was looking through old forums and YouTube videos just to see if there was any strategy to these. It was pretty fun, though, to look through some of these, I will admit. Seeing them talk about how hard these missions are and giving strategies to everybody, it's so cool to me. It's like looking into a time capsule to a time when the internet was a lot more like the Wild West. One day I will complete all these missions on very hard, but that day will not be happening anytime soon. Another mode we get here is a revamped car creator returning from the F-Zero X expansion pack. I guess something from that game did end up making it past the N64 DD after all. No track editor though, well, although with the more complex track geometry, that would have been quite the task to even implement. This is way more of an in-depth creator than the previous game too. There are a ton more parts you can get from completing the various cups and missions. Just like everything else though, you'll have to use your tickets to be able to actually buy these parts and customize your own racer. The amount of customization is really cool to see though. I bet there's whole spreadsheets out there trying to combine the best trio of parts to create the most overpowered vehicle possible. What's also new is the emblem creator. It's pretty self-explanatory. You have a grid and you're able to create pixel art that's able to be displayed on your cars. It's basically what was in Mario Kart DS for those that remember that game. God, can you believe that game is about to turn 20 this year? God, I'm getting old really fast. When I initially began playing this game, I did have some reservations. I knew about its difficulty, and like trying any other new game, I was nervous if I would be wasting my time or not, even if it's from a series I enjoy. I also wasn't sure if my love of F-Zero X would get in the way of me seeing the qualities of this game, you know, rose-tinted glasses and all that. Now I can confidently say that my fears and concerns were nothing I needed to actually worry about. This is the best racing game I have ever played. It's a game that has super smooth controls, a banging soundtrack, and it looks pretty good for a game made in 2003. It might be challenging for someone playing it for the first time, but if you just take a little bit of time to learn how the game works, you won't regret it. It is an unbelievable game, and it deserves all of the praise that it gets. Now, while we might be done with the console F-Zero games, there are still a few games left in the series to cover, all of which were released on the Game Boy Advance. Those were F-Zero Maximum Velocity, F-Zero GP Legend, and finally F-Zero Climax. Considering they were all released for the same console, I figure it'd be best to cover them all at the same time. I know just about nothing about these games too, so once again we're going to be going into uncharted territory. I'm curious to see how the series finishes up on the GBA, so look forward to that triple header when the time comes.